Big 12 as a whole. Now with the loss from Oklahoma, not a single Big 12 team is undefeated. Every single team at the top has a conference loss. Right now, there is a five-way tie at the top of the Big 12 between Oklahoma, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Texas, and Kansas State. Now, a couple of those teams are pretty big surprises considering where we were about a month ago. Did not think we'd get here, but we have a five-way tie. All five of those teams mentioned are 4-1 in the Big 12. And two of them, or I should say, four of them play each other next week. We got Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State in Bedlam, and then we have Texas versus Kansas State next week. So that's going to sort itself out pretty fast here. But boys, who's going to win the Big 12? I think it's a good question to ask, especially with next week coming up. It's going to be a big one for the Big 12 conference.
Well, I don't want to be disrespectful to Iowa State because they have far exceeded expectations this year. But of that group, I would say not Iowa State. I would say Kansas is still very realistically alive, even though they have one extra loss compared to those teams. Kansas State is really hitting their stride right now. That game with Texas this week is crucial. It's basically an elimination game. Whoever loses is out of the Big 12 race. Depending on that, if K-State, whoever wins that game, I think is in the Big 12 Championship. I think that this game is like a de facto placement game. And then I think the other team will still be OU. We have Bedlam this week. Not going to spoil a pick, but we know how Bedlam traditionally goes. So the history would indicate that Oklahoma State's going to get eliminated this week. So I think winner of Texas K-State will go on to take on OU in the conference championship game.
Follow the principle, because I'm copying Zan's homework in this instance. I'm of the same belief that whoever wins between K-State and Texas is going to be a representative in the Big 12, if not just win the regular season title outright. A real super quick schedule breakdown after their matchup. K-State gets Baylor at home, who may have fired Dave Aranda by then. Then you go at KU, that'll be tough. Iowa State, you should win, but that's not going to be a walkthrough. Then I think Texas probably has the edge schedule-wise, because after the K-State game, you go at TCU. TCU's not who we thought they were, but maybe they're jacked up because this is the last time they're going to play, maybe forever. And then they go to play Iowa State, who knows, sleepy day names, and then Texas Tech. Like, on paper, you should beat all three of those, but again, they could get your heel if you are not on your A game. But comparing the schedules, you lean Texas. I'm not giving my hand on who I'm picking in the game. But yes, the winner of that matchup for sure, I think, is in the conference title game and does, in fact, win the regular season crown.
I think both the Oklahoma schools have the easiest schedules remaining after they play each other. And yeah, just a quick look at the schedules. Yeah, I mean, listen, we just complimented Iowa State, yes, but Iowa State still got KU, at BYU, Texas, and then at Kansas State. So Iowa State, hey, look, great, phenomenal season, guys. And they're probably going to get, if they can beat BYU, they might get that over, which is like seems improbable a few weeks ago. So shout out, tip of the cap, but like they're gonna be phased out of the picture here.
They've already won more games than I thought they would, so they're doing a great job.
Next week is kind of pseudo de facto Big 12 semifinal games, if you want to call it that. I think that's how we're all
viewing it. It really is. Like, the teams that lose, like, yeah, between Bedlam and Texas K-State, the losers are probably out. The winners are probably going to represent unless they slip up. But even then, they would have a tiebreaker over the team they beat this week. So, yeah, it's basically elimination week for the Big 12. This is like the probably most important week in the Big 12 to determine the championship.
Absolutely. So, I guess we don't want to spoil our picks for predictions, but if you had to name the Big 12 championship game really quick, just name the two teams. Who's it going to be right now? What is the Big 12 championship game?
You know, my brain says OU Texas. That's what I think is most likely. What I want to see is Oklahoma State, Kansas State, but I think it's going to be OU and Texas. But I'm pulling for K-State. I'm pulling for K-State to get past Texas.
I think Brett Yormark wants to see Oklahoma State, Kansas State too.
I'm going to mirror Zan exactly that. Same line of thinking.